And
Yes.
certainly there's some concern that's been
Mhm.
voiced with
Mhm.
regard to people using AI for
Yeah.
effective therapy.
Mhm.
And AI certainly has a kind of tendency to be sycophantic.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so what is happening at the ground level there? I mean, are you seeing more and more people in between sessions chat GPT or any other LLM
Yeah.
as a therapist?
Yes. This is such a, again, great question. And I just want to share, all the things. So I think first, yes, and even the data is showing that too, right? Millions of people are turning to platforms like ChatGPT and asking it for therapy, for advice. If you go into an AI companion, one of the more popular ones like Character AI, they have, and I say character like therapists because they're not real therapists, but there's a character there that's labeled as a therapist on Character AI, and it has over 522 million times that it has been used. So people are turning to AI for therapy. Now, I'm going to talk about the concerns and I'm also going to talk about the possibilities because I want to recognize that people are turning to AI chatbots for therapy because it's accessible, right? It's available 24/7. If you're struggling with insomnia in the middle of the night or if you're having a panic attack in the middle of the day, you could just literally just go onto your chatbot and immediately get relief, answers, and because
Well, and
it's
it has to be
yeah,
resonate, right? I mean, I would assume it resonates with people that they're
yes.
getting an answer that
Mhm.
is holding together and is cogent and
Mhm.
helpful.
Yes. And so I think on one hand, I know that's what's driving the motivation behind it. And also people may not have access to a therapist, right? I want to recognize that it costs money, insurance. And so there certainly are barriers to access to care, which is also a real concern. And that's why people are turning to AI chatbots. And then on the flip side, what I think about is, well, Character AI, ChatGPT, these are not HIPAA compliant platforms, and people across the globe are sharing such vulnerable information with open AI. So that's like one of my concerns is all the testing of the data and information. Also, open AI is not a mental health, company. Their intention is not to provide, it's not trained for therapeutic supports. Now there are therapeutic platforms out there, and I'm gonna get that in a few. But I think that's some of the real concerns is just sort of the data privacy around that. And then also as well, we know that people have been dying by suicide because of their conversations with Character AI, and then also with, ChatGPT. And, those most vulnerable with some mental health issues and concerns are turned to these AI chatbots, and they just don't have the safety and guardrails in place. So, and I think that's why there's been a push on legislation across the country to not only hold these companies accountable, but to embed, safety guardrails. I come from New York State. We currently are proposing a bill with Senator Kristen Gonzalez that is not only about uh, claiming that AI chatbots can't do therapy, so they can't be claiming to do therapy, but also that there's guardrails where every so many minutes, if there's a message that's said to the consumer, reminder you're talking to an AI chatbot, not a human. So, but I do see that there's opportunity in this area as well. There's a few companies out there that are doing really due diligent research, evidence based work of using AI technology for therapeutic supports. And so one of those platforms is WISA, WYSA, and they've been around for a couple years, even before ChatGPT. It is an evidence-based tool that is built with CBT, so cognitive behavioral therapy, in it, and it's free. It's free for consumers, and it's used in over 100 countries around the globe. And there's over 45 published articles on this platform where people can turn to it for advice. If they're having a panic attack, it will do a mediation, no, sorry, a relaxation, and it will do a mood meter, a journaling activities, problem solving, coping skills. So, and research is showing that it can be very helpful in reducing depression, anxiety, alongside with used in traditional, with therapy. But they also recognize that there's waiting lists and things like that. So this is certainly a much safer alternative because there is more security measures built into the platform as well, where platforms like Character AI and ChatGPT just don't have that built into it.
It's fascinating. I just Googled AI chatbot therapist,
Mm-hmm.
and there is a thing called Ear Kick Abby, your AI therapist.
Yes.
Stanford has an article about exploring the dangers, but
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT has something called Therapy AI. Character AI is on here. Claude has somebody recommending Claude. The latest
Mm.
model of Claude is, by far and away, has the most psychological nuance. I mean, this feels like
Yeah.
inevitable that there is going to be
Yeah.
solutions, and honestly, it feels like it might be a good thing. But to your point, it has to be done with all kinds of deeper
Yeah.
professional direction.
Yeah, deeper guardrails and safety. Because again, the nuance of people being suicidal or, coming with real concerns, these chatbots really need to be trained on how to address that. And so we're seeing now better responses from, let's say, like ChatGPT. If you type in that you are suicidal, it will respond back with crisis hotlines to connect with a real human. So they are putting more safety measures in place. Unfortunately, because of the response of unfortunate, dying by suicide. But the other clinical concern too is that there's something that we're calling called AI psychosis, where people are believing this altered reality of their chatbot. So, for instance, we know that AI chatbots are designed to be positively responding, right? That kind of communication. And so it may say things like, and that's what happened to these unfortunate folks who have died
Right.
by suicide, is that they talk about, I'm suicidal, and the ChatGPT responds saying yes, and then talking about how to do it. And they feel like that's really real, and they can't distinguish the two.
Well, so again, it's only going to get more sophisticated. I mean, obviously the all of this interaction, if there are 500 million chats happening, all of that in
Yes.
theory would be
Mm.
ingested and trained into newer models. But secondarily, it feels to me anyway, as you start to see the synthetic presentation layer of um, for all intents and purposes, real human avatars, that eventually we will have a talking, human representation of a therapist, not just the words coming down in a chat, but being spoken directly to you through a screen.
Agreed. And, I think the other piece that's also coming up for me in this conversation too is, with these AI chatbots, what is this going to mean for the human relationship with artificial intelligence? I mean, people are spending hours on end. I don't know if you heard this in the news, but a couple weeks ago, New York had the first dating event where folks could, during Valentine's Day, that folks could bring in their AI companion to have a date with them at a real bar in New York City. And so it really sort of begs the question of, as we move forward, this sort of blurred line between AI and the human connection relationship. And my hope is that, AI tools, especially in the therapeutic space, can bridge more connections with humanity and human to human, right? That you could learn social skills or conflict skills, and you can learn how to, de-stress, but that we still maintain those sort of human connections. But people are replacing human connection with a chat bond. So what does that mean for romantic relationships, friendship relationships, and then adding another layer to this? Youth that are growing up today, AI chatbots are just going to be like the norm for them. That is going to be the status quo. I think of Gen Beta, those babies that are born after 2025, they're living in a world of AI companions and chatbots. So what is that going to mean for their social emotional development as they get older? And we just don't know yet, right? Because the data's not there. We're in it. And I'm often thinking about that.